welcome to Beck's Bug Out Survivor. In this one, somebody asked me if I could put a tarp up in a pyramid, and I've got to be honest, if I've seen that video the once, I've seen it 100 times. Here on Beck's Bug Out Survivor, I like to do things a little differently, so I'm going to show a different kind of configuration for your tarp that is fully enclosed, roof, doors either side, fully enclosed, windproof, stormproof, rainproof. The tarp that I'm using for this is 3.5 by 3.5 by DD. Now whether it'd work with a rectangle or a basher, I don't know. You can test it yourself. I'll test it when I get home, but for now it's a square tarp, 3.5 meters by 3.5 meters. Everything I need is in one unified system for any kind of tarp configuration. So the guys are already pre-attached and the stakes are pre-attached to the guys, so I'm in no danger of leaving anything behind or losing anything. The tarp is in OD green by DD, and this is just my camping ropes I have on here for hammocking. I could do with changing that out. That's a job to do later in the year, but for now it's going to go up between two trees for my convenience. It could go up on trekking poles, ideally a couple of trekking poles and a couple of sticks. Unlike the pyramid, which can go up on just the one trekking pole, this really needs 2, and 4 would be absolute luxury. So it would be a trekking pole either end, just like pitching up a tent, and then something to pull out the sides. Everything is ready. It just goes up like any other tarp between two trees, like I said, between two trekking poles if you've got them, or sticks. I'll actually be sleeping asymmetrically to the line of the tarp, and the centre of the tarp, once guyed out, will be where my feet or my head would go, hence me clearing an area either side of the tarp. Any debris away, come round to the other side, and I'd clear the debris at the bottom here where my head would be. Just something to lie on and keep the dirt directly off me. You can use anything you want. This is a cut down sheet off the IPK. That goes in last, and this goes in now. Ah, lovely. Right, before we put that sheet out, I only need to peg out the centres. Centre left, centre right. Because we're sleeping asymmetrically to the line of the ridge, I'll have my head facing the centre and my feet facing the centre, so it's going to make a diamond shaped bed, and it'll have a perfectly flat roof. So I've pitched it to where I think my seating height would be, and it doesn't matter if it comes a little lower or a little too high. I adjust on the tree or the trekking pole. In my case it's on a tree. I think it's probably a little too high. It's around about neck level, but we'll find out. I don't need to go rooting for tent stakes or anything. They're all pre-connected to my tarp. Bit of a rock under there, it's as best as I could do. Just gone in at a funny angle, but it's holding. So it's only the centre of this tarp that's been pegged out. I need to go over to the other side and do the same. So now it's taken on a slight persona of a hawk wing in flight. Hence me nicknaming this the hawk wing configuration. And once I pull in the doors, you'll see its full potential to ward off the wind from all directions. For that we need to close off the doors, and for that I need to get inside. Just about enough headroom. It's touching my head, but I could have played about with that by getting it higher up the tree. I'm going to close in the doors, which is the corner here. So let's bring this in. Like I said, all my pegs are pre-attached on lines. Bring that through and peg it out. Now I want to start bringing it outwards as well as pegging it, because I don't want any wind. This is really important. The second door has to come on the outside of the first door, not the inside. So instead of just closing it off like this, come around the outside. It'll leave a little gap there until I pull and pull and pull to allow the ventilation I need, or no ventilation if it's gale force, and peg out from the inside. So all the stakes for this are on the inside, and that is 50% all closed up, which is going to be my left side. Here's what it looks like from the tree end, and it's just the same for my right shoulder. Bring the doors in, which means all I have to do now is close in the remaining doors. That is half the door done. If you want good ventilation, leave this door wide ajar. In the downpour, heavy winds, make sure this door's fastened from the outside inwards, peg through. This is the only thing I don't like about the configuration, is these are on the inside with you, and if you roll over, you're rolling over onto them, they're sharp. So I need to look out for a more rounded kind of tent peg. I'm thinking a U shape. And my feet lay here. Let's see how close I am to the fabric. Not that close, maybe 6 inches or so clearance, but I have a guy out point here and one for the head, and that will give me ample room. And as you can see, I've got room down the bottom for my pack. Plenty of room here for the head, and another guy out point here, and I could guy out there as well on bungees. So yeah, I have a hell of a lot of space in here, and I mean a lot. I have a little air draft opening there, and on the other side the same kind of thing, so there is airflow getting in, although I fully expect something like this would condensate quite a lot. We breathe out about 1 litre of water overnight just from one person, so I'd expect there to be some condensation. Depending on the temperature of the night you're camping, I would take one of these out and leave a door ajar. So that is the door that went behind this main door. Remember, whichever door you pull in first, the second door has to go behind it, not in front of it. Open up some ventilation. That's given me an area there to do some cooking. Totally protected from the rain. And that is the shape of my sleeping bed. Just need to get a pad into there. I'm just going to use this sheet, keep some of the critters off. Because of the way this tarp has been set up, with the ridge line on the asymmetrical, means that one of the existing ridge webbings there is now configured as a tie-out, which comes up to an overhanging branch which is lifted up the foot side. Sorry, head end. And in a similar vein, so as the other side. And now the hawk wing is in its full configuration. You can see how it has its swooped up wings on either side, with its beak flying into the wind there. That is an incredibly easy system to do. So that's my hawk wing. And this is the hawk wing without the pull-outs. So you enter it from the tree side, where it's tied out to, or where your trekking pole would be. In my case, to a tree. And it'd be entered from this side. And I have my ground sheet in, ready to accept a sleeping bag and an air pad. There's going to be no foul weather getting in here. The shape of it alone would deflect a lot of wind. So I do prefer this system over the pyramid shape. The pyramid shape I've tried, there's always a pole in the way and there's a lot of wasted space. Sure, you could put your pack there, but I have a big footprint and can only use 50% of it. I have tried using 2 trekking poles, one either side of me on the diagonal, a bit like an A-frame. It was better but not perfect, and the sheer slope on it meant my sleeping bag was touching the fabric, and that wets your sleeping bag. Not so bad if you've got a synthetic sleeping bag. It's a killer on a down sleeping bag, a down feathered bag. So the footprint room is not too bad. I can get my pack in there, I can get me in there. if I pull out the head and the foot and attach to branches above or another stick and another couple of pegs, then I can bring that foot space and head space right off me, so the sleeping bag isn't touching the wall of the tent, making the sleeping bag wet. And if you do want to see something a little more familiar, because it gives you a sense of contentment, I don't think you're going to find it on this channel. So everything I do here is pretty new and often out of the box thinking. So I don't like to replicate a video that other YouTubers have done 100 times. So no, I'm not going to do the pyramid shelter for you. There's too many other people done it. But I would like to share this hawk wing with you, with its big swooping wings, its beak. What a fantastic little idea that was. I accidentally discovered that because I was just in an ordinary A-frame, the wind was blowing in, I just closed the sides and thought, what if I closed the other side as well, until what we have is what we got. Now, as far as I know, this can only be done with a perfect square, like the 3x3 by DD. Mine's the 3.5 by 3.5 by DD, and I haven't tried the rectangle. So if you do have a rectangle tarp and a couple of trekking poles, a couple of trees in your backyard, you could nip out, give that a go, and let us know in the comments if it worked for you having a rectangular tarp. If you have a square tarp, 3x3, 3.5 by 3.5, 4x4, whatever shape, well, provided it's square, but whatever size, I was meant to say, you can do this configuration. Had I been out for the night just with a tarp alone, this would have been the configuration I use. The open A-frame where I don't close the doors off. I kind of keep that for a nice warm night, that shape, because it allows ventilation in. So this would be a configuration in them strong winds, really strong winds that you want to get out of. It's not a difficult setup at all. You could do it on trekking poles or the tree. The only room you're ever going to need really is the room to lie down in, a bit like a bivvy. That would do. You're only going to sleep for the night. You don't need a ton of room. It just so happens that this hawk wing provides a ton of room. And I like it. So until next time, you take good care of yourself. I'll see you out there. Happy trails.